Well, I mean, I think you look at how much Purdue has had success on the international stage, and a lot of that's attributed to Adam's legacy. And this is the largest Purdue diving contingency we've had at the Olympic Games, and that's a credit to them doing the hard work. Specifically, I worked with Greg since coming on staff at Purdue, and the transformation he's had since post-collegiate diving and putting in the work. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot of things you do outside of the pool that contribute and help you succeed inside of the pool. And he went the extra mile, and now he can call himself an Olympian forever.
It's so cool too to see so many countries represented
Yes,
at
yes.
this team. So talk to us just about the diversity of the team.
Yeah, so we have two representing Team USA, Greg Duncan and Darren Wright, and then we have two with dual citizenship, Macy Vieta at Puerto Rico, and then Jay Patrick with Latvia. And I think I rewind back to Doha, where we had an Olympic qualifier back in February, and it was almost the perfect scenario where those three ladies train on the same event, compete at the same event, and then we go to Doha for the World Championship qualifier. And right off the bat, they're diver 2, and diver 4 or something. So it's what we try to train here at Purdue is we try to practice like we perform in a competition, and then the opposite. We want to perform like we practice. So, and it was a great scenario, and we're fortunate to have those three ladies in the women's 10-meter individual. Yeah, I think what's different about this dynamic, this is my going into my fourth year at Purdue coaching, but a lot of the ones that are going to the Olympics are the ones that I've trained with as well as an athlete. And so the athlete-athlete relationship is different than the coach, and so it's taken that long to finally figure out what works for our relationship as a coach-athlete. I think that's such an important thing to have, is a coach that you can trust and an athlete that knows, hopefully can trust the input that we're putting in.
Actually, Greg, and guys that are his age have been in 1 or 2 Olympic Games already in the sport of diving, or they've given it up. Talk about the drive for him to keep going to be in his mid-20s and going to be an Olympian.
Yeah, I attributed it earlier where Greg's story is probably one of the coolest to experience. I walked in after he made the Olympic Games, and I told Adam when we got back to the hotel, I don't know what's cooler, is making the Olympics yourself or seeing someone else's dream come true. And coaches play the background, and I think it's an important role to play, because you see I could still see his face when he saw that he won with Tyler Downs and is now an Olympian. But it goes back to what he's done as a person. He's made it a point to put in the work outside of the pool, and now he gets to reap the benefits. Adam and I always joke we're like yin and yang, or good cop, bad cop. When he's bad cop, I'm good. Most of the time, I'm bad cop, and so there's a good balance in it. But I think what's hard as a coach is not to try to say everything that you did. So I made it a conscious effort to try to say I'm going to push David. I have the experience, but I don't need to say this is what worked for me, because they're not me. So we have to figure out what works for them, what cues or coaching techniques work for them. And some days are good, some days are bad, just like any other profession.
What did you see?
Yeah, Jay's was a fun story, a fun journey to have, because I coached one session at a World Championships last year in Japan, and then we just started talking. What are your goals? What do you want to do? And she was saying, I'm probably going to quit or maybe transfer. And you have talent. Do you actually want to do this? And so we started to look into what that looked like for her. And she came into Purdue wide-eyed and energetic and driven, and learned 2 new dives that are hard to learn. And now she, again, reaps the benefits. A phenomenal story for someone 4 years ago who's barely done 10-meter to now competing at the Olympic Games up there. It's a different scenario. First games as a coach, but I think one of the things we try to preach here at Purdue with our athletes is you try to take every single competition, whether it's the Olympic Games or a dual meet against Northwestern, they're the same mentally. So you prepare the same. Obviously, the lights are on at the Olympic Games, but if you can decrease the pressure, then do what we've done every day in the pool and train. But I'm excited to share this experience with them in Paris in a different role that I don't have to feel like I'm fit all the time. So it'll be unique. She came here with the goal of trying to make the Olympic Games and then try to finish out her college career here at Purdue and score some points, and she accomplished both of them.
Obviously, you experienced the heartbreak of Brando not getting there, but
Yeah.
for Darren to get that call,
Yeah.
she said it was a long 4 days.
Yeah.
How exciting was that? Rewarding was that to see her put in all that work and to see it pay off?
Yeah, Darren was a fun story as well, because she came into Purdue with maybe a mindset of let's see what happens with diving, and it was a gear turned probably last year where she missed out on a world championship team, and motivation was there but maybe fearful, and she again put in the mental work. But I told her this is the longest 4 days ever. I said, well, think about Jay. She's been doing this for 4 months. No, it's still hard, but it was a fun parade we had upstairs in Dryland, sharing the You're an Olympian moment. But for her, I think for all of them, first time, it doesn't really sink in until the opening ceremonies, when you have your nation's flag on your back and you're representing them, and it's a sombering moment. So
It's not the first time for Tyler, but it's totally different than the COVID games.
Right.
It was basically ended up being a 5-year cycle, but going from your first Olympics to your second, there's a totally different athlete that goes back the second time, right?
right, yeah, your first games, you're kind of wide-eyed the whole time, and it's a roller coaster that you're trying to learn how to ride. Your second one, you're a little bit more experienced. I think what will be difficult for Tyler specifically is it's now open. We have no restrictions, so there'll be more distractions. But again, him and Greg have done a phenomenal job over the past 6 to 9 months of making sure they're locked in and inviting adversity to prepare for this moment in Paris.
Greg said that there's a difference when you're up there on the board with the teammates, and you can maybe speak to this, where you don't feel like all the eyes are solely on you.
Right.
Can you kind of speak to that from your simple experience?
Yeah, I told them, I think it was, I said, your first dive Olympic trials, you're going to feel your heart pound out of your chest, and that's your indicator to say, slow down. You've done this a million times, and I think it's a way easier to do with someone beside you, because they're sharing the same feeling of nerves and anxiety and pressure, and so you bounce that off of one another, and they have a great partnership, push each other in the pool, and I'm excited to see how this will play out.
When you guys come back from Paris, are eyes set right away on LA 2028? That will be great.
As an athlete, your eyes are all like, once this Olympics is over, you go on to the next one. My mindset's a little different now. We're starting the college season, and what I'm excited about most for this season is we have one of the best freshman classes we've ever had at Purdue. And so we have a lot of talent coming in and a lot of talent that will be returning. So we're excited for the next season. We'll worry about LA down the road.
Do you think that this experience being an Olympics coach, do you think that'll stretch you in a way that you haven't really had yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think because I've been able to experience the Olympics as an athlete, it'll help attribute to being a first-time coach. But at the same time, with the mindset of it's another competition. We've done world championships together the past 3 years and other major events that you plan for it the exact same way. It's just now lights are a little bit brighter.
This is that she saw an opportunity in Puerto Rico. How cool is it to see her represent Puerto Rico in her heritage?
Yeah.
Realizing to the Olympic trials probably be a lot more difficult, challenging task to get to.
Yeah, Macy's story is incredible, where she barely missed the last Olympic Games, devastated, heartbroken, and then used that as fuel to be able to say, okay, for 3 years I have a mission to make the Olympic Games. And it was kind of in Doha, she put herself in the position to probably qualify. Jay, maybe, and then Darren had a performance that showed growth, but not the outcome she wanted. So the emotions are all different. You're excited for Macy and trying to come for the others, but for Macy specifically, she trains. She's a worker horse and knows how to put the numbers in.
We were talking to them earlier. Each one of them said, "I've been leaning on you for like, hey, what can I expect? How can I ease my nerves? What's your advice?" What are you most looking forward to with your court game, so to speak, in the coaching role?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you go into these big events, the athletes that are going to perform the best are the ones that can control the mind, because there's 1,000 lies that go through your head, and if you can either sink into them and let them overtake you, or battle those and replace them with something that's actually true, and I love that stuff. And so I'm excited to see what kind of battles they have mentally and be right beside them to help them.
What sort of advice has Adam given you as a first-time coach?
Well, none yet. He's been doing it for 16 years, I think. So I played pickleball at his house yesterday, and he was like, "It's been 16 years." So for 16 years, he's been coaching me for my first Olympic Games. Little did I know that was the case. But he's been able to lay a foundation that basically different personalities, but same mindset, same team culture to represent Purdue and international stage too.